Hi everybody, welcome to the program. I'm your host Scott McGinnis. Before we get started, I would just like to say that I was really surprised with the reception that the first episode got. I was very uncertain that anybody would watch or even like it. Needless to say, I was very pleased at how well we were received, so thank you very much. Okay, now we have a ton of material to get to today, so let's get started. First up, let's take a look at this episode's feature photo. The pic was sent to us by Visnia, and it's from Armwar's Acid Rain, which took place July 23rd, 2011 in Manchester, England. Devon No Limits Lorette defends his championship title against Monster Michael Todd. Great pick, don't you think? Many thanks to Visnia for sending in the photo. If you have a picture you think would make a good feature photo, send it to us at scottmcginnis@hfx.eastlink.ca. Okay, next up, let's have a look at the latest rankings from both the worldofarmwrestling.com and inthehook.com. Have a look. And that's a quick look at the rankings. For a more detailed view of all the rankings, go online to www.worldofarmwrestling.com and www.inthehook.com. And speaking of the rankings, I recently had a talk with In The Hook's ranking guy, Eric Roussin, about the rankings and a bit more. So have a listen to that conversation. On the line with me now is Eric Roussin, president of the Ontario Arm Wrestling Association, and also the main person who does the rankings for In The Hook. Eric, welcome to the program, and thanks for joining us.
Nice to be here.
Okay, first of all, what I'd like to know, Eric, is how did you get started in doing the rankings on In The Hook?
So, I guess it goes back. I started doing rankings on my own website 6 years ago in December of '05, and I started doing that because I remember on Pinnacle Arm Wrestling, I think they were the first to have official rankings. They started out around 2000, Gord Squire's site, and they did a good job of developing an initial set of rankings. And the thing is, after a couple of years, they stopped really maintaining it.
Okay.
No one was putting rankings around between 2003 to 2005, and I figured, you know what, this is something I'm interested in. I might as well try this out on my own and see how it goes.
Okay.
And then, so I started doing those, and then Gord actually noticed them pretty quickly, and he asked me if I wanted to do them for Pinarm. And I figured, hey, why not? I mean, that's the original set of the rankings. So that's what I did. I did that for a year or two. But I just don't think he had much time for the site anymore, so it took a while for the site to get updated when I would send updates to him. And when John and Jerry Milnes started In The Hook a few years ago, I asked them if they'd be interested in hosting the rankings on In The Hook, and of course they jumped at the opportunity. I mean, they're teammates, so we figured you might as well help each other out. And I've been doing them there for, I don't know, since 2006, 2007.
Okay, perfect. So for those who don't know it there, so tell me, how much work is actually involved in you updating the rankings periodically like you do?
Updating the rankings, it probably wouldn't be so hard if I was able to took the time to do it every week. But for a host of reasons, I can't always find the time to do them every week. And so then it takes time. I guess some of the things that make it difficult is really keeping track of activity, because I like to drop people off of the rankings if they haven't been competing for 12 months. So keeping track of that. trying to find recent results, because not all tournament results make it online as fast as I would like them to. Sometimes I'd like to watch a video if I know it was filmed before making some sort of sensitive adjustments.
Okay, let me stop you right there just for one moment.
Yeah.
So being a guy that's really interested in video, does video actually help you in the rankings? If me and you were fairly close in ability and we're fairly close in the rankings, does watching a video make the decision easier as to which one of us would get ranked higher?
Yeah, because it allows me to show, you know, if we had a heads-up match or if there were other matches that happened. I like to see as much as I can, basically. Obviously, I feel like I make rankings adjustments better when I'm actually at the tournament. I see what happens. So definitely, if there's video, I like to see how matches go. You know, if things, you know, as much detail as possible. And I feel that if I could see the match, I'm better placed to make adjustments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now, so at the current time, how often are you updating the rankings right now?
Canadian rankings, probably every 3 or 4 weeks. I try to update them whenever there's, like Ontario has tournaments every 3 or 4 weeks, and usually I think Ontario has more events than any other province, so that's usually the time soon after an Ontario event that I try to update them. I used to do the U.S. ones as well, but that just became too time-consuming because there's a lot more tournaments in the U.S. To keep track of. And I was just starting to have too much on my plate. But luckily, Josh Hanlon agreed to take that on. He'd been doing his own rankings, and I thought he'd been doing a very good job. And when I asked him if he'd be interested in taking them over the duties for the Indihook North U.S. rankings, he accepted.
Okay, nice. Now, excuse me, and of course, you read the message boards, and there's always all kinds of criticism about how, Eric, I can't believe this person's ranked above this one. And so how do you react to some of the criticisms that people get thrown at you and saying that it's just your opinion, it's a waste of time, and blah, blah, blah?
Well, I mean, often comments are made without knowledge of, you know, the history, or, you know, it's hard to make rankings based on just one event. So I really consider who's making the criticism and based, you know, and their knowledge of the sport or their experience in the sport. But it's not an exact science, and there is no magic perfect formula to make the rankings accurate. My intention is to make them, you know, as close to a reflection of reality as possible. But there's often arguments can be made for, you know, being position 5 or ranked 4th or 5th, or, you know, I just feel that if I want to rank the top 10 more or less in an accurate way, if somebody's saying this guy should be ranked 1 and he's not even on my top 10, you know, then I'll, you know, that's something I don't think is currently happening. But I have to take everything with a grain of salt and really think of, you know, who's saying it and why are they saying it, and try to understand.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, so that covers the rankings. The next thing I want to really ask you about is you've entered into a new project with Tomas from Armwrestling 24 Hours. Why don't you tell us how that came about?
Yeah, so in the spring of last year, 2010, for some reason, I don't remember how it started, but I really started to get interested in researching the history of organized arm wrestling because there's so little information documented online, especially from the first, you know, 50s, 60s, 70s. I thought it'd be fun to try and do some research and try to piece together how the sport has evolved. So I decided to start a history project, and in doing so, I interviewed dozens of key figures in the sport, promoters, pullers, referees. I read literally hundreds of newspaper articles from over the years, watched tons of video on Arm TV and Armsport videos, and I looked through lots of newsletters and Armbender magazines. And the result was I had accumulated a massive amount of information on the history of arm wrestling. But the problem is it takes so long to sift through it and write something that's, you know, relatively comprehensive.
Sure.
So, like most people, I don't have as much time that I like to devote to certain hobbies as I would like. And what I thought would be a summer project is going to take a lot longer. But around that same time, Tom had started Arm Wrestling 24 Hours in early 2010. And he also developed an interest in arm wrestling history. And he wanted to create an Arm Wrestling Hall of Fame for his site. And so to do this, he wanted to enlist the help of so-called arm wrestling experts. And he contacted
Right.
Devin Larratt to ask about his opinion on who should be included in the Hall of Fame. And he also asked Devin if he knew anyone else who would be well placed to provide opinions on the subject. And then at that point, Devin knew I was working on this history project, so he gave Tom my name. So then he got in touch with me about the Hall of Fame, and from that point on, I sort of became one of his main resources for past results and historical information.
Okay.
And then, so he recently got in touch with me just a couple of weeks ago, and said he was losing interest in maintaining Arm Wrestling 24 Hours with current up-to-date information, and he was more interested in focusing on the arm wrestling history. So he asked if I'd be interested in working with him on a new site devoted solely to the history of the sport.
Okay.
And I was, and so we decided to launch the Arm Wrestling History Channel.
Okay, give us the website address while I have you.
I believe it's armwrestlinghistorychannel.com.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes it pretty easy.
Yeah. And it's going to take a while, but I think that within a couple of years, that site's going to have so much detailed information on the top pollers and to give major events from the past 50 to 60 years that it's going to become an incredible resource.
Well, yeah, for sure. I, for one, have already read what you guys have posted. I think it's great. Being a little bit of a historian myself and just gobbling up as much information as I can get, I think you guys have done an outstanding job so far to date.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
No problem at all. What I am curious about is as I'm reading through, and where are you finding these photos and newspaper articles out there?
So a lot of the newspaper articles, I don't know if you're aware of Google Archive, but basically
Yes.
a lot of newspapers have now put I guess they've scanned their old newspapers, and you can purchase articles. So a lot of these I'm having to purchase piecemeal. So I can do a search and find a little detail, but if I want to see the full article, I purchase the article. It's only a couple of bucks here and there, but that's why I found lots of them through online. Without the internet, it wouldn't really be possible.
Okay.
And then Tom is really good at getting pictures just through his contacts. So actual pullers or promoters who have taken pictures over the years. So he's been doing most of the picture gathering.
Oh, great. So between the two of you, it's actually starting to come together. One of the very first things I watched on there was, I believe it's an old clip from Petaluma.
Yeah. I don't know where he got that or who posted that, but yeah, that's on the site. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great clip. I encourage people to watch that. That's for sure. But listen, I appreciate you taking a few minutes of time to talk to us, and all the best in the future with the new site.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, Eric, take care. Thanks very much.
No problem.
Many thanks to Eric for taking the time to talk with us. I would like to wish Eric and Tomas the best of luck with the new site. It looks great so far, and I encourage everyone to check it out. www.armwrestlinghistorychannel.com. On a side note, I, for one, will miss Arm Wrestling 24 Hours. I found it a very valuable arm wrestling resource. Many thanks to Tomas for all the hard work. I guess now we'll just have to get all our information from worldofarmwrestling.com. Right, Charlie? Okay, what else is going on? Not a whole lot on the message boards right now, although a couple of things caught my attention. I did read one where there some references made to steroids. So-and-so said somebody was on steroids, and they believe them because they're a credible source of information. Do I even have to address that? I mean, wow. That's just crazy. Also, I read a thread on the Ontario message board regarding nicknames. Now, personally, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to nicknames. The only thing I can say about nicknames is just this. There can be only one Big Daddy, and his name is Gary Goodrich. Enough said. Now, if you recall in our last episode, I spoke with CAWF head referee Rick Pinkney about refereeing at the World Championships. As promised, I tracked down WAF head referee Leonard Harkless, and I asked Leonard to address some of the same things that I talked to Rick about. Here's that conversation. Check it out. Hi everybody, Scott McGinnis here from Armsport Videos and In Focus. I have the pleasure today of getting to talk to Leonard Harkless, WAF head referee. Leonard, thanks for stopping by and chatting with us.
Thanks, Scott. Love to do it.
Great. At the end of day two, give me your assessment of the tournament so far.
Well, you know, day one's always a little difficult. All the countries are just figuring out how to get up the tables, get to the holding pins. So it's always a little late on day one. But day two, man, it went smooth today. Done by 5 o'clock. We're 2 protests the whole day. Had none yesterday, so I'm pretty happy with my reffing and how everything has gone.
Great. So earlier this year I got to talk to Rick Pinkney, and I asked him I guess we're just not really doing anything here. They see a camera, they see a big ugly guy with a mic, hey, whatever. I talked to Rick Pinkney about the same bitches and complaints we all hear after the World Championships. Too much referee involvement in the matches and too many match stoppages. Can you address that for me?
Well, you know, it's a combination of things. The elbow pads are a little stiff, so it doesn't take much to pop the elbows off the pads. And then, you know, we don't want to be involved any more than we have to, but what we see, we call. And the better the referees are, the more they're catching and the less gets missed. And so when we get to the World Championships, I'm running as good a ref as you're going to find anywhere in the world, and we're going to call those calls. And we don't like stopping matches any more than anybody else does. But if you see it, you got to call it.
Okay. And one of the things that I did address with Rick, can this be as simple as you go back to the days of the donuts, the round elbow pads? I go back to them as well. The square pads that we're using now are really, really hard. Could it be as simple as softening up that elbow pad?
Softening up the elbow pad will certainly help, but it isn't gonna solve the basic problem of no allowances having that elbow come off. And that was the cool thing about donuts was there was a ½ inch or so allowance there for pressure to pop your elbow up and down. It didn't come above the top level of the donuts, no call. So there was a little bit of allowances, and softening up the elbow pads will certainly help, but it will not stop the basic problem of no allowances on the table. And me personally, I believe that when, you know, this flat top pads has really turned our sport into being very conservative. You don't get the aggressive hits as much as you would in the old days when we had the donuts.
Okay, and I often hear a lot of pullers and people on the sidelines, they address the no advantage gain on a small elbow pop. Can you address that?
Well, my association used to run that rule, and you have to have really good refs as you're going to run a rule of up, down, no position gain, no call. That is a split-second judgment call, and even we would miss it sometimes. It's a very difficult thing to do. Internationally, it's impossible for us to do that. And you know, okay, so they pop up 1/8 of an inch, and that's okay. Well then, how about 1/4 of an inch? And where do you draw the line? It's okay, not okay, position gained. It would turn everything into a huge protest fest if we did that. See daylight, don't see daylight.
Okay, and so now like I said earlier, we're at the end of day two. So we've done the juniors, the disabled, the masters, and grandmasters. Really, what are you expecting for the next 2 days of the senior open classes?
Well, the intensity level is just going to go out of the roof tomorrow. I mean, these are all open level pullers tomorrow. These are the best of the best from all over the world. Big weight classes. This is when the fun begins. For me, all the work is getting up to day one. This is fun being up there and reffing these matches. These are really the best of the best tomorrow. We're looking forward to it.
Okay, great. Listen, I really appreciate you stopping by and giving us a couple more of your time. Thanks very much. It's Leonard Harkless, and for Armsport Videos and In Focus, and Almaty, Kazakhstan, I'm Scott McGinnis. Thanks very much. Okay, we're back. Big thanks to Leonard for that. We really appreciate Leonard taking a bit of time to talk to us. Up next, the Ottawa High Hookers and the In the Hook crew show us the can opener. But first, we need to take a break. Here's a word from this episode's sponsors, and we'll be right back. Okay, thanks to our sponsors for that. And now, as promised, here comes the can opener. As always, though, I must warn you, this clip may contain language that some may find offensive. This clip is definitely intended for a mature audience only. You have been warned. Take it away, guys.
What's up, guys? Got a question tonight from Chris Gobby from Team MetaHook. Question is how to stop the invincible can opener move. Let me tell you something. The can opener is far from invincible. Lots of counters to it. We're going to get into that. Really a garbage move, okay?
Man,
Easily.
Man, I got this, champ. I know the can opener. He doesn't know shit about the can opener. Can opener is a wicked awesome move. You want to be like me? You want to be awesome? Can open somebody's ass. If you're strong enough, you can do the can opener. I swear to God, just check it out. Okay.
Alright, let's check this out.
So the can opener starts from a hook. You gotta get the guy, you gotta give me a little bit more, Devin? Yes, I need a little bit more power there. Yep, just give me a bit more. Oh, you good? Okay. So the can opener starts from a hook. This guy, from there. He's got to tear right into it. It's not, it's easy if you do the right move, you're right. You alright? What are you sweating for, man? Anyways, can opener. You want glory? That's me. That's Chris Godby right there. I just can open his ass for all the glory. Check it out. Can opener.
That's great stuff, isn't it? Where did these guys come up with this? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Just love it. I wonder what will be in the next episode. Ah, well, only time will tell. Recently, I traveled to Almaty, Kazakhstan for the WAF World Championships. What a trip. We had a great time, and it was a fantastic experience. We got to see some of the sights, enjoy a bit of food and culture, and there was arm wrestling to boot. What more could you ask for? But don't get me wrong, it certainly wasn't all fun and games. The workload was huge, the time commitment extraordinary. I did, however, get a chance to talk with a world champion or two. Have a look at those conversations. Scott McGinnis here. We're at the World Arm Wrestling Championships in Almaty, Kazakhstan, and I got the pleasure of not one but two brand new world champions. As always, let's start with ladies first. Camilla, your very first world championship?
Gold medal, yes. It's my 17th or something. I think I've been competing 13, have a couple of other colors from the medals, but the first gold today.
Outstanding. You've got to be happy with that performance.
I'm very happy. It was close. It was hard. The final was very good. I was crying.
Great. Now, if I remember correctly, you were on the A side. She came back to beat you once to force a rubber match. And what happened in the finals?
I got a better grip in the referee's grip, so it's like between us. If she get her grip, she win. If I get my grip, I win. So it was really close. It was exciting.
Outstanding. Congratulations. That's just a fantastic job. I'm very happy for you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Camille.
Thank you.
And step right in here.
I'm there.
My friend, Mr. Dave Hicks. Another World Championship 2011 in Kazakhstan. Dave, you got to feel good.
It always feels good, but this year was probably the most uncertain that I ever was, like prepared-wise to come to a World Championship, but it worked out.
It worked out. Your performance was outstanding today. And any idea how many World Championships this is for you?
I was told a month or so ago, WAF Worlds is 18, so this I guess would be 19.
Wow, outstanding. Again, Dave, congratulations. It was a pleasure to watch you pull this afternoon.
Thanks, man. You always have my back. It's a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks, Dave. And for right now, that's Scott McGinnis. We are at Almaty at the World Championships, Almaty, Kazakhstan. Finished nice and early today. 20 after 5. It was a really good day of arm wrestling. Everything went really well, and we'll talk about day number 1 in a few minutes. I'm Scott McGinnis, and for right now, we're out of here. Thanks. Hi everybody, Scott McGinnis of In Focus. We're still walking around the auditorium or the arena in Kazakhstan at 2011 World Championships, and I just happened to run into another world champion, Silvio Bork. Silvio, congratulations, outstanding job.
Thank you very much, Scott.
You had to be stoked, excited about winning another world championship yesterday with the left arm.
Very excited, coming from the B side and 2 difficult matches to win. Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. See, if I can remember correctly, the guy that you beat in the finals, he beat you and put you on the B side during the round robin, right? Or no, I'm sorry, during the elimination rounds.
He beat me in the second round. The exact same guy.
Okay, and during the finals, it seemed you guys went to the straps. It seemed like you had complete and total control while you're in the straps. That's what it seemed looking on the outside. I don't know, what did it feel like when you were strapped up with him?
Never over until it's over. I can tell you that much.
So, and I heard you were telling me yesterday that he was actually a wrestler for the Turkish national team at one time. Is that correct?
I got told that he had 3 years of very successful boxing on the national team, and then he did 22 years of Olympic wrestling for them.
Wow, outstanding. And then you followed that up today with a silver medal in the Grandmasters division, or Masters?
Grandmasters, yes.
Yeah, so pretty successful World Championships for you. That's a gold medal and a silver medal. You got to be pretty happy.
I'm very happy, of course.
Good. So what's next for Silvio Bork? I know Silvio also does a lot of running. He runs marathons. So what's next for Silvio?
Silvio needs to go see Réjean Alain, the boys, and get some serious training done, because he has to take his training to another level if he wants to remain competitive.
Well, I don't know, remain competitive. You just pulled off a gold medal and a silver medal at the World Championships. I'd say that's pretty damn competitive.
Yes, but the right hand, I didn't feel like I was in the battle like I want to be.
No, not really thrilled with your silver medal.
I'm very thrilled, but I know that I still have some objectives in arm wrestling, and I have to train with great arm wrestlers like Réjean Alain in order to get better and achieve these objectives.
Okay, well, perfect. Listen, Silvio, thanks very much for stopping by. We really appreciate it, and congratulations again on your performance.
Thank you very much, Mr. McGinnis, and keep up the good work.
Okay, thanks, and we're out of here for right now. Pretty good stuff, don't you think? Big congrats to Camilla, Silvio, and Dave Hicks, and thank them for taking the time to stop and chat with us. Also, we got to watch a couple of remarkable performances. Heidi Anderson of Sweden was truly amazing on her quest for gold, and Andrei Pushkar from the Ukraine is more impressive each time I see him. Check out both these athletes and their gold medal matches. Wow, that was outstanding performances by both of them. Congratulations to them, and you know what, to all the athletes for putting on a great show, as always. Never mind the politics and the BS, the pullers are the show. Sometimes I think we need to be reminded of that once in a while. Okay, that's enough ranting from me. Also, while in Kazakhstan, I got a chance to talk with WAF President Fred Roy. But before we see that clip, here's a few words from this episode's sponsors. And we're back. Now, as promised, here's a short conversation I had with WAF President Fred Roy. Have a look. Hi, everybody. Scott McGinnis here again at the end of day 2. I'm walking around the arena, and look who I run into. WAF President, CAWF President Fred Roy. Fred, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by.
Right on, thank you. I'm glad to be here. We had a nice day today compared to our start yesterday.
Well, it was great. Here we are at the end of day two. So it was a rough start. Day one was a really rough start. So give me your assessment of the first couple of days of competition.
Well, so far so good. Unfortunately, I was arm wrestling today, and I got my sorry butt kicked, but it was fun. I went up there, and you could tell those guys were training, and I wasn't. So all hats off to them. Lots of terrific talent again, like you've always noticed here at the World Championships, and I'm hoping that the next 2 days are going to even be more spectacular. So because today was just super. Everything just went tickety-boo. Even right down to the protest matches. It was only 2 today, nothing yesterday. So that's awesome. So you know that tells the tale of the referees. They're doing a super job for us, and as we go on here, all the countries are starting to pay attention more to what's going on. That was part of the problem, is everybody was a little confused and they weren't following proper protocol. And so I had a little talk with everybody this morning before we started up, and away we went, and things seemed to went pretty good today.
And I really got to do big hats off to the staff after really trying conditions. The first one, there was all kinds of teams getting delayed, getting here. Registrations were late, weigh-ins were late, but they really rathered. I know they worked well into the night, I heard 3, 4 in the morning, and they rallied and they pulled off an amazing job today.
That's right. And even today now, just miscommunication even in the languages, because exactly what we wanted as far as presentation of the awards with the flag videos and the national anthem. We were told by the organizing committee that they couldn't put it together. So I says, well, they have to be. Look at the thousands of dollars worth of equipment they have here. So I got one of our guys to have a look at it again, and sure enough, everything was there. So today on the presentations, we're going to have the flag raising and all the national anthem. So it'll be good.
Okay, outstanding. And the one last thing I want to ask you about is WAF had its annual Congress a couple nights ago, and there was a couple of new decisions that are really, really interesting and will probably make everybody happy. First of all, tell us where the next couple of worlds are, and there was one awarded this year at the Congress, correct?
That's right. The next 3 years actually are ready to go now. So we've got Brazil next year, which is going to be a super tournament that's right down by Resort Beach in the state of São Paulo. So we're going to have a super time there. Right. And then after that, we're going back up to Poland. And then the 2014 was awarded to Lithuania. So the other big change that was passed, we made the motion forward, and the membership voted on it. The tournaments are always going to be the last 2 weeks of September now. So that's going to help a lot for the all of the people that are hosting now. It's a better off-season time. It'll be cheaper for flights, cheaper for hotels, and it'll accommodate the people in the school, going to school and stuff. Apparently, especially Europe and Asia, they have a different school system than we have in North America, and it seems to help. They get their kids started, and then once they're started, they can miss school to attend to the junior championships. So that's going to help in that regards. So that was the two main things that got brought forward, and we broke records on the attendance of that meeting too. I mean, we were in and out of there in just over the hour, which was super.
It was a really short meeting. I've been at a few congresses working for the WAF, and that was the shortest one I've been at. It was under an hour and 20 minutes.
I've been to about 29 of them, and that was the shortest one. It was really good. Yeah.
All right. Well, listen, I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for your time.
We can talk again later. We'll give another update.
There you go. We'll give an update maybe at the end of day 4, and you can give us your assessment of the tournament overall.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Fred. I'm Scott McGinnis for Armsport Videos and In Focus here in Almaty, Kazakhstan still, just walking around the auditorium and doing different interviews with a few people. And for right now, we're out. Thanks very much. Great. Thanks, Fred, for taking a few minutes to stop by. Unfortunately, Fred and I were not able to get together and recap the rest of the World Championships. Hopefully, we can reconnect at a future date. I'm working on that now and hope I can bring that to you very soon. And now let's have a look at the upcoming schedule for January. Let's see, January 13th, 2012, Arm Fight number 40, Vendetta in Vegas, from Las Vegas, Nevada at the Tropicana Hotel and Casino. January 21st, 2012, Battle of the Atlantic Championships from Porters Lake, Nova Scotia at the Porters Lake Pub. January 21st, 2012, Deep South Pulling Wars number 4 from Winter Haven, Florida, and the Saltwater Grill. Again, January 21st, 2012, Illinois State Arm Wrestling Championships from Nashville, Illinois, and Southside Sports Bar. And finally, on January 21st, 2012, Connecticut State Arm Wrestling Championships in Bristol, Connecticut at the City Sports Grill. January 22nd, 2012, Extreme Gulf Coast Arm Wrestling Championships from Newport Richey, Florida. And finally, on January 28th, 2012, the Central Ontario Arm Wrestling Championships in Peterborough, Ontario. That's it for the January schedule. Now, before I finish up for today, I'd like to touch on something I read. As I mentioned earlier in the show, I attended the 2011 WAF World Championships in Almaty, Kazakhstan. The WAF staff afforded me unrestricted access to everything backstage and behind the scenes. Contrary to some reports I have read online, the WAF staff performed their duties above and beyond what should have been reasonably expected under some very trying circumstances. In some cases, staff members worked all through the night, making sure everything was ready for the competition. I would personally like to commend them for doing an outstanding job. Now, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor for a future episode, contact us at scottmcguinness@hfx.eastlink.ca. At this time, I would like to extend to everyone my warmest wishes for the upcoming holiday season. Thanks for joining us. I'm Scott McGuinness, and we're out, and we'll see you next month.